Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining. Hi. So, I hope you're having a lovely Thursday and your weekend has already started. So if you could please just mute yourselves, and if you have any questions, feel free to write in the chat box, and I'll be answering your questions throughout my webinar.
5 minutes.
And at the same time, throughout the end, we're going to have an experience of the Akashic Records, the way I teach and the way I let people experience. So you could have a paper and a pen ready if you want to take some notes. And we can go through. All right, so my name is Maria, and I'm a spiritual growth coach here at Illuminations, and I'm the founder of Life Scripting. And Life Scripting is going to be the modality that we're going to talk about today with the Akashic Records, and how you can access it, and what is the necessity of it, why is it important, how can it heal you, how can you gain more clarity, and experience deeper healing. So first I want to start with what Akashic Records is. I think that's very important for us to define it. There are so many different definitions online, and we want to look at it from a true definition perspective. The Akashic Records, if we look at the word itself, it comes from the word Akash, which is a Sanskrit word, means space or ether. So it's not something that you can touch. It's not something tangible. It's something that you can only connect through your consciousness. And the deeper you are on your sensitivity level, you will be able to understand it, feel it, and know it. So how do you get connected to it? It's through your consciousness. It's through a guidance that you get to. And the way I help people feel that connection is through a certain experience, which you're going to have today. And the most common question that I get, how do I know this is not my mind making it up? Well, first of all, we all are deeply connected on a spiritual level to this plane of existence. Some teachers and some schools call this the plane of the laws. This is a common term that is used. There are different levels of energies. There are different levels of planes of existence. The most tangible ones are the ones that we're living on. So you can touch the table, you can touch the wall. This is a tangible plane. And it's a very governed plane of existence through the left brain. The left brain is continuously analyzing and understanding things and putting information. So when you are connected to the Akashic Records, the most common thing people think they're only going to experience is past lives. And that's not true, because you're not accessing Akashic Records to know about your past lives. You're accessing to connect to your higher self, your purest form that exists, which is not the body. The body is just the vehicle that we use. So you're connecting to a part of you, which is always connected, by the way, but you're just not fully aware, or maybe not in tune with it all the time. And you are learning to access this so that you get purer and more accurate information, in order for you not to be governed or focused by your left brain, your subconscious mind, of all the programs that you have, of all the experiences that you've had from your childhood, and not let that be the driving force, allowing the driving force to be from a much purer, and I'm emphasizing that word a lot. When I say pure, that means there is lesser conditions. It's more to do with light. Now, whether you believe or are in spirituality or not, we're just looking at it from as much as we can from a logical perspective today. We can go deeper into the spiritual side of it, or we cannot. That's completely up to you. So when you are being in tune and connected to your higher self, you get a lot of answers for your burning questions that you have. Hence, you get a lot of clarity. You don't get your answers based on what your logical mind is saying. You get the answers from your spirit guides, if you do believe in them. You get your answers from angels, if you believe in them. You get your answers from, let's say, passed on loved ones, if they've passed away and you believe in them and that their soul will be there to help you. So everyone's experience is very unique, and it opens up your intuitive abilities because you are using a part of you that is dormant. You know, I'm sure you've heard the word third eye, and many people know about it. But it's not only about having this open, it's about also having the crown open. When you have these two parts, these two energetic centers, there are other centers above, then you'll be able to have that access to receive and download that information. So your Akashic Records is going to show you your questions that you have. So I'm going to give you a minute. And because we're going to go step by step with the process, I want you to write down on a piece of paper a question that is something that you really want to know. And I want you to be clear on the question. I don't want you to have any ors in your question. Like, don't say, shall I have an apple or a banana? Don't have an or option. You can make your question either yes or no, like, should I have an apple? Or should I have a banana? Or one of my favorite ways of asking a question is to say, what do I need to know about? And you continue like that. What do I need to know about my love life? What do I need to know about my financial situation? What do I need to know about X person? So that's one of my favorite questions. And that can give you more of a direct answer. But if you want to go into the yes and no process, go ahead. You can say, is this good for me? Is this bad for me? So I'm going to just give you a minute to write down your question, put it aside, because we're going to take some notes throughout our process so that when in the end we have the experience, you will end up using this information that we're having. So just giving you a bit of time to write it down clearly. So this is just writing a question. You're just writing a question, just putting it out there on a piece of paper, having it out of your mind onto a concrete piece of paper, okay? So what else can we do in the Akashic Records? If you have been struggling with a certain emotion for many years, let's say you've had anger, and you have had difficulty releasing this anger. Every time you go and meditate and you still feel like when someone pisses you off, you just get really angry and it affects you and you feel how your energy is being all blocked. So most of the time when I receive clients, it's not that they haven't worked on themselves enough. It doesn't mean that they have done the wrong thing. It's just that they haven't cleared it from the root of their source. And the root of the source is your higher self. It's not the body. It's not Maria. It's deeper than that. So again, now this can be a very controversial topic where some people do believe in past lives and some people don't. I'm just going to go with the hypothetical process that you do. And if you do, knowing that you have had different bodies and different experiences, actually, scientists are now proving that we do absorb memories and thoughts through our DNA and habits from our ancestral lineage. So that can be partial past life experience. So if something's happened to your great-great-grandmother or great-great-grandfather, that in your ancestral lineage, the DNA is still passing through. And that is impacting your behavior, impacting your way of belief, impacting the way you see the world. So maybe if we're still looking at the example of anger, they could have had that habit, and every time you want to get rid of it, you still can't do that, and you don't understand what you're doing wrong. What is the block? Is it my solar plexus that's blocked? Well, not really. It's just that it hasn't been fully deactivated from your system, which leads me to what I do in the Akashic Records with my life scripting process. I activate and deactivate emotions, thoughts, and beliefs. And again, you're going to experience it today to see how it's working. It's not much of putting effort. It's about going with that flow and just trusting what you do not need anymore. So I want you to now write down on a piece of paper what emotion you want to free yourself from. What emotion you want to free yourself. And if you can't find a very concrete word like anger, sadness, guilt, fear, you can add by writing, I feel something, and just write that statement down if you can't find an emotion. And I just want you to put that there. What do you want to free yourself from? What emotion? What feeling? So you now have a question on your paper, and you now have a statement, an emotion, and or a statement of I feel, yeah? So that's something you want to let go of. I'm trying to make your experience as personalized as possible, since we are a group of people, and I want you to experience the session in a very personalized manner. So we're going to be clearing this for you on a few levels, and I'm going to say what those levels are when we go and have the experience. We're going to clear it from your subconscious mind. So you might have done the work on the subconscious mind, right? If it's still there, we're going to clear it from that. We're going to clear it from your cellular memory. The cellular memory is where your cells remember the feeling, the reaction of that experience. And many times, the physical illnesses that we have are the result of that cellular memory. It can be a physical trauma that we've had. So let's say a hit that has happened to the cells, and that memory is still there. It can be the trauma of seeing something or feeling something, the shock of something that causes the cells as if like to go into a cocoon mode, or to try to block themselves or close themselves up. This is a cellular memory experience. And generally when people have that experience, when it's stuck in their cellular memory, most of the time they would say, I just feel it like this. They cannot understand why it's happening, but they say, I just feel this way. I don't know why. I just feel down. I just feel sad. Cellular memory, not salary memory. Yeah, so, and when that feeling is happening, they don't understand where it's coming from, because logically it's not making sense to them. Well, this is where the idea of past lives or ancestral DNA can come in. So we're clearing, as I said, from the subconscious mind, from the cellular memory, and then we're clearing it from your energetic DNA. When I say the word energetic DNA, it's the one that is not tangible. It's the one that scientists call junk DNA, and they don't know what to do about it. They just say, oh, they're just random stuff there. Nothing is random in the universe. Everything is beautifully orchestrated. It's just the logical mind cannot understand or perceive it. Now, there is a great scientist who has proven to the world from a genetic and a DNA perspective. So if you are someone who loves to know the science behind it, go ahead and watch or read about this guy called Dr. Bruce Lipton. And he will explain to you how the work that I'm doing, he's explaining it perfectly of what's actually going on. So the genes and the DNA are kind of like Christmas lights. Some are turned on and some are turned off. When I come and do my life scripting session in an Akashic Records and I activate and deactivate something, it's like I'm turning on certain lights and I'm turning off certain lights. And how do you know that this has actually worked? If you are not sensitive enough energetically, if you have an active left brain who wants to understand everything, then this is what I tell you to do. You check 3 things after a session, which is what you're going to do after today. First thing you check is, what thought are you still having based on what you wanted to release or what you wanted to have? Do you still have that repetitive thought? Yes or no? That's what you're going to keep on doing for a week, just like a tick box. Are you still having the same feeling or different feelings? So you're looking at the feeling side of things. And the third thing is, what are your actions like? Are you still reacting the same way? Or are you reacting differently? These 3 steps will show you, because the work can be very subtle. You can have a very tremendous experience within the session and you'll feel like, oh, I'm feeling all the vibration and things are, you can see colors. All that is great, but in the practical life, how much is this really changing you? And for you to have some form of guideline, these are your 3 steps. And this is what all my clients do. After each session, I ask them to take notes. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? How are you reacting? And if these 3 things are changing throughout the day, don't judge it by day 1. That's why you need a process. Especially after the first 3 days is your adjustment period. It's your integration period. So what we do today, give yourself 3 days to feel the adjustment. You could have extreme experiences where all your emotions can get heightened, or you would be completely flat, same experience, nothing new. And then all of a sudden, after the 3rd day, you have a different mindset, different feeling, different emotion. So give yourself those 3 days to adjust. And then another 5-6 days, keeping that momentum going of the 3 things to take note. And then you'll start to see, with some people, it's gradual. With some people, it's like, wow, that's completely out of my system. So we are here to help you get that clarity, to help you release that certain emotion. And now I want to go into a 3rd thing, which is a certain thought that you want to free yourself from. And that thought, you're going to write it down, which is going to start with I am. So I am, for example, unloved. I am alone. I'm unwanted. I'm poor. I am not the right person. I'm not enough. I'm anxious. Whatever those thoughts are, I just want you to write it down with your first thing. So I, Maria, am, and I want you to complete that. That would be your 3rd thing that you're going to write down. Giving you a minute to do that. So you now have a question on your piece of paper, you have an emotion or a feeling on your piece of paper, and you have something that you are that you don't want to be. You're writing down the stuff that you don't want. So we're going to deactivate them. We want to clear them. So sometimes, now we're talking about a thought, or we're talking about a belief. Every conditioning that we have is just a thought. And it can be a bit difficult to swallow that truth, because we're like, but I believe in this so strongly, and I know my mother believes in it, and my father believes in it, and my whole family believes in it, my whole society believes in it, so it must be true, right? Just because a number of people, whether it's 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000 people who believe in something, it does not necessarily make it true. It just makes it true because that group of people believe in it. And this can be a very challenging thing to absorb or to accept. Why? Because it's going to shake your identity. It's going to shake who you are. So let's say if for years and years you believed something, and then all of a sudden there is someone here right now on your laptop telling you, well, you know, that can just be a belief and it's not the truth. You're not going to easily accept that. Or you're not going to say, okay, I'll just let go of it. One of our challenges as human beings is we don't easily let go of things. We're attached because we strongly believe in it, and because that shapes our identity. Remember the 3 things I talked about? Those 3 things about what are your thoughts, what are your feelings, what are your reactions after a session, after a healing, is going to change, and that is going to change parts of your personality. When people ask me, how fast can this help? Do I need a session? Do I need 5? Do I need 10 sessions? And my answer is, base it on these 3 things. How fast are these 3 things changing? Because not one person is the same as the other. The modality is the same. With one person, they shift their thought in a week. With another person, the same exact thought is taking them months to get free of. It's the same technique. So it's important to, first of all, have this idea, at least like give yourself 1% of a window of an opportunity to say, well, maybe everything I believe is just the thoughts, it's just the belief. And if I don't like it, I can change it. We're not pressing a button and saying it's changed. There is a little bit of a process. Why? Because you have a body, you have a mind, you have an aura, you have the energy, you have the soul. So there are layers of changing. So that's what I do in my life scripting experience, where we're deactivating or activating a belief. So I'm going to give the example of saying, if a person had the thought, I'm not enough, okay? So I will then go and deactivate that thought. And when I say that term, they will have, if they're, as I said, a little bit sensitive, they'll feel the energy pouring. And when I say that, something might shift. They might have different tingling sensations, feelings might change, and it will impact them. And like, what happened? I don't know. The more you trust and the more you open up, the faster it goes and changes. It goes into your chakras, the energy centers, it goes into the meridians, the energy lines that you have, and it starts to shift. So we're going on all those layers. So in life scripting, I'm not working on your subconscious mind alone, because in my experience, I found that to be one layer of the work. That's not enough for me to work on. There's something deeper than that. That's why going now to the idea of why Akashic Records and why life scripting will help is because we are working on it from many layers within one session. Not every single time we're going to a different layer. And if we are asking and working with your higher self, then that's great, because then we're working with your actual true self, which goes why when people come to me and say, I'm doing Akashic Records because of my past lives, I'm like, great, that's just one part of you though. You have your ancestral stuff within. And you have your future parallel lifetimes that are playing a role with it. So it's a very deep form that until you experience and practice, some of these will just be ideas, like textbook stuff, until you actually understand them. What are we actually doing in the Akashic Records is, for today's experience, we're only doing the energy work part. We're not doing the breath work part, because that needs a little bit of a longer period for you to have that experience. So the breathwork part is where we are creating an energetic vortex. An energetic vortex is a spinning field. And when you are connecting the inhale to the exhale, without any pauses in between, you create a cycle of energy. The parts of your energy that were, let's say, imbalanced, in disharmony, they were not aligned, this will help to create that harmony. And this is more of a physical, tangible experience. And in my Akashic Records, I take people up to the Akashic Records and tell them, now you're going to breathe. And that's a whole different roller coaster experience by itself, where they are blending with the energy of their higher self. And they're blending with their whole aura is shifting. And it's kind of like a washing machine effect. In advanced stages, we are doing the activation and the deactivation with the breath. We're combining them. Once a client called it, oh, so the combo technique, because we're bringing two things at the same time within the Akashic Records. So that's what I do. That's what I teach in the trainings, so that then you decide as a person what you need to do for yourself and what you need to do for a client, because the training that I provide is to be a practitioner with certain criteria where you have to do some practices, and then we have to look at your reports. And there is a certain criteria for that so that you get certified. And then once you're certified, you know that, okay, today I need to release this, but I need breath work for it. No, I need to release this, I need to deactivate for it only. Or no, I need to do both, and I need to do it in the Akashic Records. So you are allowing yourself to combine the one thing that definitely keeps you alive in this body, and that's the breath. It's not the water, it's not food, because you can survive with that with a few days, but you can't survive more than a few minutes without your breath. It's impossible. And allowing yourself to have that breathing experience, a natural breathing, by the way, we're not doing pranayama techniques. So we're not doing exercises, yogic traditional ones, where you are doing certain things to activate certain things. We are just creating the flow, which naturally needs to be there because of all our emotions and our beliefs. We have suppressed our breath. We have inhibited the breath. So we are freeing it by creating a conscious, connected breathing experience without switching the nose and the mouth, only nose, nose, or mouth, mouth. And when you have that, you start to feel, you start to believe more in energy. I've seen many people who are skeptical and they didn't understand energy. I don't blame them. You can't see it with your naked eye. So with the breath, they were able to understand what that is. With the breath, they were able to feel which part of their body is blocked, which part of their body or which chakra is blocked, because suddenly there is a rush of energy that goes there. Now, will that also happen with activations? Absolutely. It's just that one can be more intensified because you're doing something. You're actually doing something, you're breathing, rather than just lying down and listening to the practitioner to do that for you. So another thing I want to talk about the Akashic Records and the life scripting experience is I introduce people to 4 chambers. And you're going to experience the 4 chambers today. Those 4 chambers are, 1 is a healing chamber. This is where we're going to go and do some healing work. The second place is called the Master's Roundtable. This is where it becomes spiritual more, where you're going to go and ask your guides the question that you've written in number 1. You're going to ask the question, and every single one of you is going to have the experience of either seeing the answer, feeling the answer, hearing the answer, knowing the answer, whatever way is necessary. You might remember the answer, you might not. What is the difference of someone remembering and not? It's their level of conscious development. So it just needs a bit more practice. Doesn't mean that you're not allowed to know. Okay, we're all allowed to know. But how they answer it, it's based on how much you can actually handle. The third place that you're going to experience is the timeline chamber. This is where we're going to tap into past or future lives. I'm going to ask for you to see a scene that is relevant for the emotion that you've written. It's relevant that why do you have that emotion? And it's going to show you. It could be a past life, it could be a future life. And this is not a past life regression. And you'll see the difference. Most of the time, 99% people say, I think my mind was making it up. Even if it was, how did it create that? How did it bring that certain image? So the question, the answer is a mystery. It depends. You try it a couple of times and you see how that's relevant. When something that you're having so much doubt, try it a few times and see where it leads you. The fourth chamber that you're going to experience is going to be the Hall of Records. If you type in now Google Akashic Records and go to images, the pictures that you're going to see are all about libraries, because that's how they defined it. It's a storehouse of information. Every single thought, feeling, emotion, belief, experience that has ever been in existence is recorded in the Akashic Records. Are you allowed to read somebody else's? No, it's a sacred space, unless they give you permission. So you're accessing your personal records, not mine, not the other people who are online today. So you're accessing it there. And the reason why I take people there is for one major reason. Is because I want them to clear things from their actual blueprint, their soul's blueprint. Clearing a lot of karmic stuff. So if you believe that you are suffering from a certain karmic repetitive pattern, then this is your go-to method to go and completely burn it inside the violet flame. We use the violet flame as an energetic color, as an energetic power to transmute and transform these energies and to burn these books. And then we're going to be connected back into Mother Earth so that you can feel grounded and stabilized. So we're going to have the experience. You're going to be sitting up straight for this experience. Your spine is going to be straight. You're going to have that process of going to the Akashic Records. You have look at your piece of paper. You have your question. I'm going to tell you when to use that and ask that. You have the emotion that you want to clear, and you have the belief that you want to clear as well. Remember, you've written down things that you want to deactivate. And I don't know what they are. I don't need to. You will see how I'm going to be doing that. You might have thoughts, feelings, ideas, memories, colors, stuff passing through you, or you might not. Everyone's different and however they're ready to experience. Okay, are we ready? Some of you send me some thumbs up, so I know that you're ready. And I know that you're here. Good. I saw one or two. Cool. Thank you. Perfect. Let's start. So please close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Focus on your heart. And see or feel a beautiful golden light shining bright out of your heart. Allow this golden light to grow and to expand. Until it fully covers all your body. And all your energy bodies. You're now in a golden ball of light. This protects you and heals you and gives you full clarity. You will now gently start floating in your golden ball, leaving the room that you're in. Leaving the city that you are in. Leaving planet Earth. Passing through the stars, the planets, and all the universes. And I'm going to count from 5 to 1. And when I say 1, you'll be at the gate of the Akashic Records. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. You're now at the gates of the Akashic Records. And you're becoming one with your higher self. You will be guided to go to the healing chamber, which is made of crystals and minerals and sacred symbols. You will lie down on the healing bed. And we're going to deactivate the emotion, the feelings that you've written down from your subconscious mind. From your cellular memory. And from your DNA. Deactivating it completely and totally with ease and grace. Deactivating it from all your timelines, past, present, future, parallel lives. Deactivating the need to have that emotion. We're now activating for you unconditional love to replace that emotion. Allowing the energy, the emotion, the thought of unconditional love to flow to every single cell of your body and to be deactivated, whatever is against unconditional love. Allow yourself to feel the energy of unconditional love. And you will now leave the healing chamber and you'll be guided to go to the timeline chamber. There is a huge screen in front of you. And when I count from 3 to 1, you will see a scene that is relevant for you right now. 3, 2, 1. I will stay silent for a minute for you to see the scene. Watch it without any judgments. You will now remember the scene as a form of information to give you more clarity and guidance. You will now leave the timeline chamber and you'll be guided to go to the Master's Round Table. This is a room with a huge round table and many chairs. You will sit on one of the chairs and we're calling upon all your spirit guides, all the beings of light, to answer your question, to give you clarity and guidance. Mentally now ask your question. The answer is now within you. Do not judge the answer. And you will now leave the Master's Round Table and be guided to go to the Hall of Records, your own Akashic library. Every single thought, feeling, or emotion you've ever had is recorded there. And in the center, there is a violet flame which transmutes and transforms. All the books that are related to the thought that you've written down, we're now going to command for that thought to be burned in the violet flame. All the books that have that thought is now being burned completely. Clearing all oaths, vows, commitments, and contracts that you have attached to that thought. It's now being fully burned. You will now leave your own Hall of Records feeling lighter, thanking your higher self and all your spirit guides, going back into your beautiful golden bowl, connecting you inside the rose quartz cave, the heart of Mother Earth. Focus on the bottom of your feet. And just like a strong, tall tree, bringing the energy from your roots up towards your feet, towards your knees, base of your spine, towards your heart, towards your throat, towards your forehead, and all the way up towards the top of your head. Take 3 deep breaths and open your eyes when you're ready. Welcome back. I hope you guys are feeling well and you were able to see stuff. You can put your hands up if you want, or thumbs up if you're able to see or feel things. Cool. Any questions? Just trying to see if I can find any questions. Yeah, I was yawning as well. If you heard me yawn, it's not because I'm sleepy. So yawning is one of the common signs that happens through the process, is because your higher energy points are becoming stronger and they're opening up. And when they're opening up and the release, it's kind of like someone has put you under a waterfall. And like when you're under a waterfall, you're going to be splashed with water, right? You're going to be really wet. So change the water and imagine that it's energy. So it's like pouring down. And that yawning is a form of release and also the opening up of your crown energy centers. That's a very good point, Nora, that you feel it's unfair that we're carrying things from the past life. That is why the idea of forgiveness is important, because sometimes people feel like, well, I wasn't that body. Why do I have to carry that experience? But you are still the same soul. And obviously, sometimes we do things in different lifetimes. Again, if you believe in them, of course, your consciousness is expanded and you're like, why would I even do such a thing? It doesn't make sense. And that is where forgiveness is necessary. Yeah, there's no such thing as being unfair. It could be a thought, but there's no such thing as being unfair. So great question. If someone did not receive any information from their spirit guide, or let's say they haven't been able to recall, then there are ways where you might be able to receive some form of information the next 2-3 days. Now, this is where that's why I train people in the training to learn to be able to receive the information, because we have our own perception of how we get information. For example, the person can be fully blank. There could be fear that's blocking them. There could be they think they don't know the answer, and the next 2-3 days they get premonitions or dreams, or they start to have different feelings about that question. So I highly advise you to look at it from the next 3 days and keep on asking the question and see what ideas come in. Sometimes we might know the answer, but we don't want to know that that's the right answer. So the only answer I can say right now is how open your intuitive ability is. It depends on that, and how ready you feel you are to know the true answer, even if it's something you might not like. And remember, if it's something that you don't like and you've received, you can always ask for it to be shifted and what needs for it to shift. There's nothing from your side to keep for the unconditional love to flow in. It's now activated, so day by day, it's going to start to expand. That is why, like I said earlier, keep those 3 things there. You're not going to be Buddha by tomorrow. However, you will have more of a form of self-acceptance. And if there's no acceptance, you'll suddenly see that will rise up. And don't react to it. Just let it fully pass. Another question is, how do I know if it's past or future lifetime? Well, the scene should give you some form of an indication based on the clothing, based on the type of people, based on you, if you saw yourself, what you're actually looking at. So that can be an indication to know if it's past or future. And again, we're not asking for you to see the past. Remember, I said what is relevant for you. So it could be from something that's going to happen tomorrow or the next week or the week after. Remember, this is just to focus on that one particular statement or emotion. It was all revolved around your question, emotion, and the thought. It was all about that. It was nothing else. So give yourself for the next 3 days to go back to that question, to go back to that emotion, to go back to that statement and belief, and see where you are still. Remember, there was one point where I said to clear any reasons that this emotion or this thought is serving you. So sometimes people say, I don't want to have this, but part of them wants to have that because it's giving them some form of purpose. So we also need to clear that purpose so the person doesn't find any value to have that feeling or emotion. So let me know if in the next few days, I'm going to type my email in the chat box, and you can send me an email to give you some more clarity if you need to. I'm having a training happening in April. If you are someone who really wants to go deeper and expand your gifts, and you want to do similar things like I do, based on the intuitive part, the healing part, accessing the Akashic Records, then the team knows everyone who's registered today, and you're all entitled to get the early bird discount, although it's already been sold out, but we are going to provide it for you guys. And when you do decide to sign up, you need to make sure that you want to come here in person or you wanted it to be online, because I'm offering it both online and on site. So you just have to specify that when you make your commitment so that we can make sure that there's enough space and we can follow on the regulations of what's going on. So it's a 2-day training. It's a Friday and a Saturday on 23rd and 24th. If you're fasting, wow, that's going to be even more powerful for you, because when you fast, your energy body is cleaner and you'll be able to be more spiritually in tune to receive information. So it's going to be a Friday and a Saturday of April 23rd, 24th. So you still have a month, not to decide, but to explore and be certified. We have about more than 150 people who've already been practitioners, have done the course, and many of my clients are already experiencing it as sessions. They can see the difference. You can still come and do a one-to-one session if you need to. The course is Life Scripting Level 1 Akashic Records. So the team of Illuminations will send you more of the link. If you go to the Illuminations website, you'll see, and you go to April 23rd, you'll see the link and the description of the whole course, what you're going to get, what you're going to be learning. There's going to be a lot of practice going on, a lot of knowledge that needs to be shared. You're going to be accessing all those different chambers, learning how to deactivate your thoughts and activate the ones that you want, learning how to clear 13 chakras, not only 7, because we have more than that, learning how to keep yourself protected energetically, learning how to do the breathwork part. So it's full packed. And one of my personal favorite parts is going to know who are your spirit guides. You're going to learn about ascended masters and angels, if you believe in them again. You're going to discover who they are, who are your, I call them the invisible team of helpers. That's great. I just saw someone saying they got their answer to their burning question. Well done. Congratulations. So I hope to see you guys there and have a brilliant weekend. Remember, drink lots of water. You might get emotional after this. You might think it was a simple thing, but there's a lot going on in the energy part of it. So be gentle with yourselves. Express yourself by writing it down and letting it out. And have a lovely weekend. Bye.